What up? We are DV, and they call me Twin. They call him Twin. Yeah, man. We are in Long Beach. It's a beautiful day. I'm grateful to be here. Uh, Today is what? April 30th, 2025. It's Wednesday. So yeah. I want to talk about personal growth or just growth in general, but like not only growth, but like the rate of growth. How fast are you growing? How much are you growing? And are people around you, like an example, your loved ones, or people close to you, are they growing with you? I ask this question because a lot of people, I feel like, sometimes have miscommunications, or sometimes like if, for example, like in romantic relationships, people often break up for all kinds of stuff, right? Sometimes they seem petty, sometimes for very serious reasons. But I think at the end, at the head of all that, is at the source of all that, the root of all that, those reasons, is because you guys are just growing at different rates. It's not because we make it, we like be out of insecurity or anger, or just being human, or just not knowing, out of ignorance. We demonize their actions. We say, oh, they're this kind of person. We're making it, we're projecting. We're saying, yeah, that motherfucker just hating on me. That motherfucker's just jealous of me. Or she's just insecure. Or she's just a bad person. He's just a bad person. You know, all these different reasons why they did what they did. But essentially, I think the core reason of why you guys had a misunderstanding, or why you guys just don't see eye to eye anymore, or never have in some people's cases, is because y'all just on different vibes, and you're growing whether you want to be or not. So this isn't really as much about personal growth as it is about more, again, back down to communication and understanding. Sometimes in this life, I think it's especially important in your relationships to have more empathy before you have pride. I say empathy because how you gonna understand what's even going on if you're always coming at every single situation from a point of, I gotta defend myself, I gotta hold on to this, I'm being attacked, as opposed to, what is this anyway? Understand what's going on around you first before you come into a space of defense. You don't even know what you're defending. So that's where empathy kicks in. That's where self-awareness kicks in. With all these things, remember, you're gonna grow whether you want to or not. Sometimes I think if you hold on to things and refuse to go with the flow, you're gonna stifle the process longer than you need to, and it can become more painful than it needs to be. So remember, everybody's growing at their own rate and at their own pace. And sometimes I think that's what creates conflicts with people in relationships, because you're growing. Say you're actually trying to grow. Imagine you're actually putting in the work to grow as a person. And you get your finances right, you're getting your health together, you're getting your credit score right, you know, working out, take care of your skin, you're eating different, and your business partner or your partner in life, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever, your wife, say they just cool with where they're at right now. They don't want to do anything different. They're all right with themselves, and but it's not working for you, because now you're vibrating high, you're growing, and you want the situation to grow with you, because that's natural. You want to see them eye to eye at your level of growth, but it don't always work that way. You know, whether you wanted to or not, you decided to make a decision to grow. You don't know how fast you're gonna end up growing. You didn't foresee that you're gonna outgrow the person next to you. It happens that way. You didn't see that coming. And it doesn't mean, all I'm saying is, it doesn't mean that it's anything personal. It's just the part of the process of growth. You asked to grow, now you're growing, but the other person with you won't, because they're still stuck on what
they will grow.
They're gonna grow, but it's not gonna grow at your rate. You're just growing at a different rate. My bad. They won't meet you where you are. That can cause a lot of fucking complications internally and amongst your peers, your relationships, the people around you. because no matter what you do, you're always bumping heads because you're just not seeing eye to eye, and there's a reason for that. It's because you're in a different space now. You're just not aware of it yet. You won't pay attention to the signs. You're not that person anymore. They think you are because or they do, and they can't understand it. Why? They can't understand. They see something changing, but they can't understand it.
Yeah, I got a story for that. Personal experience of mine, of course, a past relationship. And looking back on it now, hindsight, I can say that the issue with, like you were saying, as far as the growth thing, we started out on very, very drastically different growth levels. Yeah, we were very close in age. I think we might have been different as far as like 3 years difference. But the thing was, I personally was a kid who already was living at an adult level at a kid's age, right? I was doing adult things, had adult responsibilities at a kid's age, right? So going into that as an adult, obviously I've got that down pat better than somebody who's just starting out in their 30s, taking care of themselves, right? At the time I was 30ish in that relationship. At the time this woman was 30 something too, but her maturity level and her growth level of where she was at the time, she had never been in a place to pay bills, never been in a place to take care of herself, pay her own rent. She had never been in a place until when she met me. But the thing is, she was still struggling with that. While that was a cinch to me, that was easy because I had been doing it for years, been doing it since I was a teenager. So here I am doing something that's just the regular stuff for me, normal thing for me. It's not a struggle, but for her, that was a struggle, let alone all the other things that going on in life, handling a job, handling a social life. She hadn't done any of this up until that time that she had met me. So here we are, both growing. She's growing, I'm growing, but we're growing at different rates, and I'm already this far ahead of her, right? That's how I saw it anyhow. So it was hard to relate on a lot of things, A big part of a relationship is relating with each other. And we didn't relate with each other in a lot of things outside of the fact that we were sexually attracted to each other. And, we liked each other's personalities. But outside of that, looking back, I don't think the relationship was already pretty much doomed because of the growth level that we started at and the growth level that we were going at. So, yeah, it's a good example of what he's talking about as far as the growth levels of people. Because like you said, people are always going to grow. You're going to grow no matter what. Inevitably, you're going to grow. That's what we do as humans. We're going to do it anyway. But I say, when it comes to these I'll just talk about when it comes to like romantic relationships, love, something you should pay attention to is the levels of growth that you're both starting at. Right? Not so much the speed of what you're going, because that's kind of out of your hands. But the level of growth is what I'm talking about. So, yeah, that's something we should all pay attention to when you get into a relationship. Watch for like where this person's at in their life, and where you're at.
In black, I dream in color. Vividly.
But yeah, I mean, even with him and I, we
what the fuck is that about?
have always been at different levels of growth. Even as twins, right? Which is probably why we've had our major disagreements. Our major disagreements on all kind of things, creatively, personally, because I had already done it or wasn't into it anymore, and he was still just picking it up. So right there, that was the difference in our growth patterns, our growth levels, But like he's a father, I'm not. So here I am still living as a single man, and he's a single man as a father. Right there shows different levels of where we're living life at, and they don't always match up, even as twins, partners, right? So there you go, right there, living example of how we be at different levels of growth.
Man, my daughter just called me. She asked me, which she rarely calls me, usually texts. That's why it surprised me. She asked me, she said, do you dream in color or do you dream in black and white?
Seems like it's from a movie.
Right. And I was like, well, I dream in color. How about you? Dream in black and white. You gotta look into that. But yeah, so Yeah, and that's back to the whole different rates of growth, man. I think that is what causes misunderstandings a lot. We just don't see it. We don't understand why, and you just have to accept that maybe that's just where they are. You know, it's not a reason to really feel too much deeper into that. It's just like it is what it is. That's where they at with it. You know, like the Slum Village song. I guess that's where you at. You know, that's just how it happens sometimes. It's just they made their choice to grow where they going, and they going at their own pace. Everybody's got their own pace. I know. Had I been doing the things that I'm doing now that I'm 40, if I was doing those things, if I had these things in my life when I was in my 20s, I probably would have did some real self-destructive shit and fucked it all up. You know. Because that's just where I was. That was my level of growth. That was my way of processing it all. I had to try things out. I had to be self-destructive a little bit to figure it out, you know. But it all amounted, and it all came to growth. You know, it all turned into more growth. Me learning new lessons and being a new person. So that was my rate of growth, you know. That was how I was growing. But I just think that I noticed to myself, I was thinking to myself, and I realized I was like, a lot of the misunderstandings about the people around us and the people that we connect with is because we just refuse to or just don't understand the different levels of growth, that we're at different levels of growth, and you know, and we're at different rates of growth. You may be growing faster, you may be growing slower, but either way, just accept it for what it is. I think would help. Don't get so deep in your feelings about it. Don't get your mind about it, like taking it personal, thinking of all these different reasons of why they might be doing or saying what they're saying. They're saying that because that's where they are. That's just where they are. It's got nothing to do with you. That's where they are with it. That's why they're saying what they're saying. That's why they're looking at you like they're looking at you. That's why they're responding to you the way they're responding. Because that's where they are. In their world, at their level of growth, in their reality, that's an offense. You said what you said to them, they took it a different way because that's what they thought. That's what they heard. That's what they going through. It's nothing to do with you. Remember that. So don't take it personal when there's a misunderstanding about communication, a misunderstanding in communication with the people you're talking to. It could just mean you're not vibrating because that's not where they are, and what you're saying to them sounds like a whole different language. You know what I mean? They're just not connecting with you.
So with that said, when you talk about these people being on different levels of growth, let's say in a business partnership, talking about what you're talking about, what do you do with that? Do you keep going? Do you wait for them to grow, or do you end the relationship and then go and meet up and do something with somebody who's more on your level? What do you do?
No, that's the whole point of what I'm saying is accept. You accept it.
No, okay, you can accept it, but then what? What do you do after accepting?
You allow them to grow at their own level, at their own pace. You can't do nothing about what they're doing.
Right. So you allow them, but what I'm asking is, there's different ways to allow that. At what ways would you recommend doing that to allow that? Because you can do that by, all right, I'm going to end this relationship and move on to a different situation and get with somebody. You can still allow them to do that, or you can wait, could have postponed whatever y'all got going on and wait for them to grow. That's another way to do it. What I'm saying is, what are the ways that you would recommend to allow them to grow?
You just keep doing what you're doing because it's your journey anyway. At the end of the day, even though you guys are co-creating and you're in a space that you share, you're still an individual first. You're still on this path of your own first. You got to be secure and good in your own space first as an individual. That way, when they don't seem to be growing at your level, it's okay. They'll get there. It's no reason to be alarmed, no reason to be concerned, there's no reason to be worried or even sad. They're gonna get there at their own pace. But your main objective is to keep growing in your own lane anyway, because that's what you came here for. So you just keep focus on your own goals and your own level of growth, and hopefully they'll meet you there. That's the best you can do. That's all you really can do, because you can't force them. You know, that's not your job. That's not what you're here to do. Everybody has to grow at their own level and their own pace. So I suggest to stay focused in your own lane, doing what you've been doing. So if you've been growing and you've been on your shit, then keep doing it. And they catch up, and maybe you'll have less and less misunderstandings.
Well, I'll say from my own personal, once again, I'm talking personal experience. I think sometimes there will be times where you will either have to pause and wait for them to catch up if that's what you want to do, or you may have to split ways and go and continue to keep going your own way, because you're gonna, like you said, you're gonna do your own thing no matter what, whether you're in that partnership with that person or not. You're gonna do your own thing. But what I'm saying is, if you're in a partnership with somebody and you guys are going different directions or different rates, there will be times that you may need to split. You need to come back at a time where you both are closer, are you kind of closer together with this growth thing, or not. There may be times you need to split, is what I'm saying. But ultimately, it's up to you to decide what works for you. But I have been in times where I felt like, hey, we're growing in such different directions and different rates that I think we need to split, and you go your way and I go mine. And we come back later to see if we're at a closer level, or just so different in directions that we just decided to just continue to go separate ways.
Speaking of personal experiences, my personal experience, you ain't even got to do that. The universe gonna make y'all split anyway. You're gonna end up growing apart anyway. That's what happens in relationships a lot, and especially in romantic
People going in different directions, but you're not always necessarily going in directions, just different rates is what I'm saying.
Even the rates, I think, count. I think if you're growing at different rates, you're gonna eventually grow apart. I mean, that's what I think. That's what I've had happen to me in relationships. You just end up growing apart anyway. You don't have to force it. You don't have to discuss it. You're just gonna end up growing apart because you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing at that time, and it may lead you to different paths at the time. It's just how it goes. It's the way it's supposed to go. I believe universally. I feel like if you're a person, and I'm gonna say it. I believe I walk with guidance. And I try to listen to that guidance, and wherever that guidance takes me, as long as we're in a healthy place, I'm okay. Yeah, there's stuff that goes on around me, but that's not my business. My business is what's going on in this lane. And as long as my path is always growth, and I'm moving forward, and I'm okay, whatever I want to happen ain't necessarily my business. So I just think that the universe knows better, and if you're meant to grow apart, then you'll grow apart. It's just because it's for everybody's good at the end of the day. It's for everybody's growth, and maybe what's necessary. So I just don't think that you'll even have to say it. It'll happen anyway. Because I was in a relationship with a chick for 6 years almost, and our lives was already starting out. It was already different when we got together. It was vastly different. She had a kid, I didn't. I was single. I was young, but she was young with a kid, and I had no real obligations to nobody, and my life just started taking another turn, and it meant that she even saw it. I didn't see it. That's how much I was in love. I didn't even see that she didn't fit into it. In my mind, I was like, of course she'll be there. She kept asking me stuff like, for example, I ended up getting a record deal, and I thought, okay, so I had to move. So I was like, I had to move, and she was like, so where do I fit in? And I was like, you gonna be my girl. What do you mean? And I'm not even considering she's got a baby and shit. She can't just up and move. You know what I'm saying? That she had to maintain and hold shit down. That's how I was, just young and just in my zone. And my only focus was, okay, now this music shit is taking me here, so this is what I'm gonna do. So
it wasn't what you gonna do, it was what we gonna do thing.
Well, that's what she thought.
That's what it was if you were in a relationship. But you didn't see it.
But my mind was like, what am I gonna do? And
that's what she saw it the right way. You didn't. That's what I said.
Yeah,
you saw it as a me thing, and she understood it's a we thing.
And so my mind, I'm thinking, well, you gonna be there anyway. You my girl. I didn't really think about it all that deep. And she did, which was how she was supposed to be thinking, because she's a mom, and she had other shit going on. I had no other obligations like that. And so she was just like, I remember one day when we finally talked about it again, I was like, she apparently feels really strong about this. I remember we was crying and shit, we broke up. She thought it'd be best that we go our own ways, and I was just like, she had brought up all the points, like, well, you're doing this, I'm doing that, and she kind of just made it. She brought up all the different points that weren't clear to me, like, look where my life is, and look where your life is. I don't see how I fit into this, and I couldn't think of a real way of how she could. Is when she actually brought it up to me. I guess I was just too much in the zone at the time. I just didn't really want to think about the details. I couldn't, but that's how women think. They think about the details and shit. And when she broke it down like that, I was like, damn. We've just grown apart. It's not I don't like you, I don't hate you, I still love you. But life just is taking us in different ways, different directions. But you gotta remember that when you ask for growth, when you wanna go somewhere new, you wanna do something new, you wanna become a new person, ask yourself, are you okay with that? You might outgrow some of the people that you love. It happens all the time. I see it happen. I've gone through it. It's painful. And it's confusing too. But the reason why I talked about this today is because I wanted to eliminate that confusion. So if you're bumping heads with the person that you love and the person that's close to you and you're bumping heads constantly, it might be just you guys are growing at different rates, at different levels. You're different people now. And you just got to accept that, stay in your zone, keep doing what you're doing. And if they're meant to go with you, they will. It's okay. It's not that bad. It won't be that bad. Anyway, I just want to say thank you for anybody that tuned in today. Appreciate you being here, that even considered check in and see what we was talking about. You know, like I said, we are DV. We're just trying to be better today than we were yesterday. And I'm very grateful. So if you had anything that you want to add to this, if any ideas came up that you want to add to this, get in the comments, let us know. If anything I said struck a chord, let us know. Like, share, subscribe, holla at us, man. Connect with us. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
And I want to just close this with, I love you, man. And I love myself. And I'm able to love you because I love myself. So, and I love Sade too. So yeah, I just need you to, don't forget to love yourself for yourself. All right. Fuck with y'all. Love you.